Namaste everyone. In today's video, we're going to focus on Muni Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 2.41. Now in this particular Yoga Sutra, Muni Patanjali is helping us to understand the mental aspects of Saucha and what kind of an impact it has if we practice it daily and in a very, very efficient and effective manner. So let's take a good look at this sutra and start breaking it up word by word to understand it a little bit better. So the sutra itself goes, Sattva Shuddhi Saumanasyaikagra Indriya Jayatma Darshan Yogyatvani Cha. Alright, so that is quite a long sutra. There are lots of words combined together, but don't worry, we're going to go step by step, understand the meaning of each word and start moving towards the meaning of the sutra. So the first word that we have here is sattva, and sattva indicates a sense of being, usually characterized by illumination, goodness or light. That's one way of looking at it. The second way of looking at the word sattva is sat, which means to be, along with tva, which indicates the quality of or ness, like N-E-S-S. So you can see it as the illuminative quality or just a sense of being and the basic nature or personality of a person. Now, coming to the next word, we have Shuddhi. And Shuddhi is a very common word which refers to purification or making something more clean or something better. So that is Shuddhi. Then we come to the next word, which is Saumanasya. Now this is a compound word consisting of Sau and Manasya, and Sau over here means good. So anything with Sa or Su usually indicates something that's nice or good. And then we come to Manas, which means the mind, and Ya of course indicates a particular state of being. So Saumanasya indicates a particular good state of being of the mind. So this could be sort of cheerful, happy, pleasant. That represents Saumanasya. Now coming to the next word, we have Ekagraha. So over here, Ekagraha refers to a particular very conditioned, straightforward state of mind where you're focused on one thing. It's a one-pointed concentration, and that represents Ekagraha. If you remember this, we've also studied it in the Chitta Bhumi theory, where the fourth state of mind is represented by Ekagraha. Now after that we come to Indriya Jaya. Now Indriya refers to our sense organs, and these are the 5 different sense organs that we have, and Jaya refers to victory. So Indriya Jaya refers to victory over the 5 sense organs. So clearly this means that we're able to have mastery over them. They're not just running while doing their own thing, but instead we really have some amount of control and dexterity over our 5 sense organs. Then coming to the next word, we have Atma Darshan. Atma refers to the self, and Darshan refers to a vision or some sort of realization that we're having. So when we say Atma Darshan, that's a compound word and that's a state of being that is represented here. And finally, we have the last few words, which is Yogyatva. And this one over here is referring to something being yogya. So yogya usually refers to something that's you're fit for this, or so sometimes in Hindi we'll say, you know, aap is cheez ke liye yogya ho, which means that you are really fit for something like this. So if you're an athlete and you're trying to run a 21-kilometer marathon, somebody might say that, you know, you have the yogyata to run this marathon, which means, yeah, you have what it takes to actually do this. So yogyata over here, and here especially the tva, which is being indicated, refers to ness, again N-E-S-S. So when we're saying yogyatva, we're saying that you have the eligibility or the capability for this. Okay, so that is yogyatva. And then again we have a small word here, which is ani, which refers to plural. It's a suffix for plurality. And finally we have cha, and cha just means and. Alright, so that's a breakup of all of the different words that appear here in this sutra. But most importantly, what we need to keep in mind is that all of these are different things or different attributes that happen when we practice Saucha. So starting with the most basic is that we start to have a very pleasant sense of being. Our basic personality becomes one that's cheerful, that's pleasant, and that impacts our mind, which also becomes a cheerful, very calm, very peaceful state of mind in most cases. And then we come to ekagrata. Now, because of that really calm state of mind, what ends up happening is we have a very fixed consciousness. We have one pointed focus, and we're not being torn in multiple different directions. We have a sense of calmness, and from that calmness, we're able to kind of channelize that energy in the right way in a singular direction. And then, of course, coming to Indriya Jaya, because of this channelization of energy, we're able to control our senses because we know that we want to go down this channel or this path. And so kind of everything within us works in harmony towards that. And finally, when all of that happens, we're able to move very easily towards practices of self-realization because all of these things have happened as prerequisites, and then we're able to kind of go further on the path of Atma Darshan. So that is what the sutra is trying to tell us. And now we're going to start understanding even deeper what exactly it means. Alright, so we got a good look at the sutra and the different words that show up within it. But now let's start understanding it even further. So firstly, what usually tends to happen with most of us in the common world is that we have a lot of rajasic and tamasic guna. These are characteristics of our states of being, and rajas represents overactivity, excitement, a lot of kind of anxiety sometimes, and a shifting state of mind. So there's a certain amount of fickleness attached to our minds. And then also tamas, which represents dullness, a certain inertia, lethargy. So these two modes of behavior, unfortunately, are what characterize most of us in today's day and age. Whether it be because of our sedentary lifestyles or just because of how the world is progressing, we are usually, just bouncing from one thing to the other, or we are feeling lethargic, tired, and lazy. Now, this is obviously not always the case, but there's a lot of, truth to this statement that on average, we do end up feeling like this. So what the sutra is saying is to kind of counterbalance these activities of rajas and tamas, we need the sattvic or sattvic energy to show up. And the way it does is through the practice of Saucha. So now how does that happen, right? Because if we're keeping the mind and the body clean and we're purifying it on a daily basis, physically through, of course, bathing and conducting neti kriyas, making sure that we're really, really clean inside out, and then mentally through meditation, our yogic practices, all that waste matter is being eliminated, and we're constantly rejuvenating ourselves. So this process of purification makes sure that we're in the best and the most sattvic state of mind, even physically. And so, for example, when if you don't move for about 10 days, you know how dull and lethargic you feel? You feel like you haven't released enough toxins because you haven't been sweating. And I think that's why it's such an important thing to release the toxins from the body, move on a daily basis, and actually allow that sattvic energy to rejuvenate in our bodies. So when that happens, and there's all this purification taking place on a physical and mental level, automatically the mind enters into a much happier, much calmer state of being, Saumanasya, as we were studying. And this Saumanasya is beautiful, right? Because you're feeling happy, you're feeling cheerful. I mean, you think about it, the last time you exercised or moved, I'm sure you felt great after that, because it was also a cleansing and detox process. Similar with neti kriyas, any of the purification practices, yoga, meditation, pranayama, all of them lead to a sense of saumanasya, happy, cheerful state of mind. And then as you go forward, if you do this every day and you cultivate saumanasya on the daily, then what's going to start happening is that you now have ekagrata, which means your mind is able to focus consistently on a particular point, on a particular subject, and you don't feel torn in different directions, and you get that clarity of thought. And with that clarity of thought, you're able then to control your sense organs in a way that it helps you. So, a lot of times, people like Sadhguru, who are super inspirational, have said this, that for human beings in today's day and age, our faculties have turned against us sometimes. Just the very things that make us human, that make us extraordinary, have kind of gone against us because we've allowed them to, and they're kind of wreaking havoc with our minds. So instead of allowing the sense organs to just take you on a journey and kind of make you feel different things, it's about disciplining it. It's about saying, hey, my mind is going to control these sense organs and direct them, channelize them in the right way. It's also very similar to a lot of people who have anger issues or who might have a lot of energy are advised to take up sports that help them to channelize that energy in a very constructive way. So instead of using it in your daily life in a way that may not be helpful to you or to other people, you use it on the sports field in a way that allows you to productively use up that energy and still feel like you did something that was good. So very obviously, it indicates that keeping these senses disciplined is very important, and that happens when the mind is pleasant, when the mind is calm, when the mind knows what it wants to do, and then very naturally the sense organs follow and there's no resistance through them. So that is the Indriya Jaya. And what we're being told in the sutra is when all these things happen, the most important thing is you become eligible, you become fit to move on the path of self-realization. Because so much has happened inside you, you're so calm, you're so sattvic in nature, there is a great channelization of energy that understanding the self becomes much easier. Because think about it, if there's a lot going on in your mind, you're distracted, you're feeling lethargic, lazy, then it's going to be a little bit of a problem because you're going to find it very hard to focus on yourself or to understand yourself better. So the sutra is kind of giving us the eligibility criteria to move towards self-realization, and it's showing us how does that happen, and specifically how does Saucha, the first niyama, facilitate that entire process. So it's a great sutra, lots to unpack there, and we obviously study this in much more detail in our workshops. This is just to introduce you to the concept and help you to understand it a little better. But if you're more interested in studying it deeper, please do feel free to join us for our workshops, our courses, and our classes, and we'd love to answer your questions and help you to understand it even better over there. So I hope you've been able to get a good gist and understanding of 2.41 in a nutshell, and we look forward now to seeing you in the next video, the next class, or the next workshop. So we'll see you very soon. Until then, take care, leave your thoughts in the comments below, give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and keep practicing on the daily. We'll see you very soon. Namaste.